Hi everyone, this is Carrie with Southern Sass Vinyl. We've been getting a lot of questions about using the Easi Subli with the PNG designs and how you can do that since you actually need to cut. So I just want to go over that real fast, and I have two designs here. So this one right here, it's basically the same design, but I just want to show you what type of design works with the Easi Subli and what doesn't. So this design right here that has the box around it, it will not work for Easi Subli. And the reason is you see all the little dots. Hang on, let me see. Anytime that you have a design that maybe you're trying to see if there's something that you can't really see good, always just get like a black box or something and then put it behind and pull your design on, and that kind of lets you see a little bit better what is actually in the design. So as I was saying, in this design right here, all of the snow dots, like right here and right here, those are not something that you would want to try to cut out of vinyl. So it's also not something that you would want to print on Easi Subli, just because you would not want to be trying to cut out all these little dots. So what I did was I took the same design and I removed the snow dots. And so as you can see, it's a lot cleaner design. Everything is good. It's wide enough to be easily cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just how I set mine up for whenever I'm cutting on Easi Subli. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, oops, I went one too far. I always thicken my lines up just a little bit, and I also reduce my insert. And that gives me a little bit more space. The next thing you want to do is you always want to turn on your cut border. And that way you know exactly how to size your design. So I'm going to pull it down, and then I'm just going to hit center to the page. And you just check it, and you're just looking for anything that's outside the border. That is a little bit closer than what I want it to be. So I'm just going to kind of make it a touch smaller, recenter it, and that looks good. So of course for Easi Subli, you print in right reading mode. Right? Yes, in right reading mode. So this would be pretty much how you print it. I always like to go over here to the saturation, and I like to bump up my saturation just a touch, just because it makes those colors pop, especially that red, just a little bit more. So I'm going to hit apply, and then for some reason it always puts a black outline around it, so I just go in and I turn the line color off. So obviously this design does not have cut lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it, right click, there it goes. I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm going to hit, oops, sorry, and then I'm going to come over here to my layers panel, and I'm going to lock the layers. Now I'm going to hit plus, make sure that this layer is selected, right click, and hit paste in front. So even if you can't really see it, if you pull it, then you can see it that way. So it's now back in front. That layer, that back layer, which is the original design, it is locked, so it can't be adjusted or anything. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come right here, I'm going to select this, I'm going to go back over here to my images effect panel, and I'm going to hit this gray shade button, and I'm going to turn it all gray. Hit apply. And sometimes you can do it twice and it'll darken it, but sometimes it won't. But what I do is I come over here to brightness, and I turn my brightness all the way down so that it makes all of the design totally black. Okay, and then again, it's going to give you that box around it. Just turn off the line color right there. So the next thing you want to do is you want to come over here to your trace, and I'm just going to select it all. Let it run its thing. And then just kind of play with the threshold, and you want to make sure that you have some pretty even lines. You don't want a whole lot of speckling on it. And then just hit trace. Okay. Now you can get this and you can pull it out. And it leaves the cut line all the way around your design. Occasionally you'll have something like this right here, where for whatever reason it doesn't quite get where it needs to be. So I'm going to pull in my screen. I'm going to double click, and that's going to highlight and bring up your edit points. I always just start at the farthest edit point, and I just start deleting points. And you want to be careful with this, because you don't want to accidentally delete something that you actually need. If you notice, see, like that, so I'm going to hit delete. And then sometimes if you click off of it, you can still see it. For some reason, there's just a random little red dot in here. And so I'm going to pull this. That looks like the last one. Okay, see now how it's a straight line right there? And this is also a good thing to look so that you can actually see and make sure that your cut lines are pretty much where you want them to be. One thing that I don't recommend is to just leave your cut lines like this, just because it cuts it so close. So what I usually do is I just select my cut line, and I come over here to the offset panel, and I'm just going to offset it by 0.002. And you would be surprised how much of a difference it's going to make. I'm going to hit apply. And now I'm going to come over here to my lines, and I want to go ahead and change the color of them just because it's going to make it easier to see. Okay. So right here you can see that you have these like random little dots. And I don't really know why you have them, but you do. So we're just going to select, and you can just get this point and hit delete. So any little random dots that you see out there, just delete them. Or you can just come over here and grab your eraser and erase it. And you can do that with any just random little dots that you see, and that could just be anything that it picked up. So what I want to do now is I actually want to delete that red line. So I'm going to come up here, the select by color, and it's already on line, and I'm going to hit the red. I'm just going to hit the delete button. And that takes that red line out. So all I'm left with now is the pink. And see how these have these little boxes right here? So that's something that I need to go look at. So I'm going to get in as close as I can. And then there was another one right there. And just delete, like I said, just delete those little points. Okay, so there it goes. Whenever you select the red, if you notice that it is not all together, then you can just come over here and hit group. And you want to do all of this before you actually print. That way, in case you somehow move the design on the page or whatever, that way when you, from the time you print it to the time you cut it, the design does not move at all. Alright, so then now at this point you would just go in, you would print this on your Easi Subli, let it dry, I believe most people are saying let it dry for 5 minutes or so. I let mine dry for like a half hour. I just lay it on a table and I just walk away from it. I have smeared so much ink on that stuff. Just let it dry 100% before you go to your cut. And then of course over here, you're always going to go to your cut up here. And as you can see, there's all your cut lines. If you see anything that you don't really want it to cut, then you'll just come over here and you'll go back into the design. Like some of these little beady things like this, that could cause some issues. So you're just going to go back into your design. We're going to pull it back up as close as we can again. And if you see these right there, we're going to ungroup it. And all we're going to do is we're going to get on these points and we're just going to hit delete until it's totally gone. This one may have been okay, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it anyway just because that's kind of a tough one. And I think this one here is going to be fine. Alright, so then we just click out of it and the edit points disappear. Oh, I missed that part right there. So let's go back in to this red tree. And really the only one I don't want is this one. So I'm just going to hit delete point. And it totally takes it off. And you can do that on anything like this one right here. I don't want. Anything that's small that you kind of feel like it's not going to cut correctly, you can just go in and just remove those edit points. We're going to just check all of this. I don't see anything else that looks like it's going to cause an issue. Okay, but sometimes whenever you come up here to this end and it changes those cut lines to bright red, see, like maybe this one, this right here, probably I didn't even see that edit point. So let's go back and look at that one more time. It looked like it was right up against the tree. Oh yeah, right there. Okay, so then just double click it. You see your edit points, just hit delete and it'll delete all those edit points. I think this one right here will be okay. I'm not feeling this one right here. I just don't think it'll cut great. I'll leave this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and take this one right here out too. And this one. Alright, so let's take this back out. I'm still seeing this one little point right here. Oh yeah, no, that goes into that right there. Which hopefully will be fine. Alright. Let's go back to the send button one more time and highlight everything. So you got a pretty good cut line going on here. And so of course then you would just change your cut settings over here. I don't use the auto blade. I actually have a CB09 blade. I strongly recommend it. It lasts. I've had the same blade on mine for almost 8 months, I think now. And I have 3 different ones. I have one that I cut with paper, and I have it written on the side of my blades. One is a paper blade, one is a fabric blade, and one is a vinyl blade. And I've just found that, especially glitter vinyl and glitter papers, those chip and dull your blades super fast. And so anytime you're cutting fabric, you want an extremely sharp blade. If you have any nicks or anything in your blade, it's going to cause your fabric to start fraying, and you don't want that. So I do use 3 different blades. They're all CB09 blades, and like I said, I just have it. And instead of just changing out the blade tips, which you can do, I found that for me it was just easier if I bought 3 different holders and just wrote on the side which one was which. That way there was never any confusion about what blade I actually had in there. So that's the end of the video on how to use Easi Subli with a PNG and how to get your cut lines on it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. You can message me via the messenger through the group, or you can also email me at sassyvinylhtv@gmail.com. Thank y'all so much. Have a great day.